So in doing a problem like number 1, trying to come up with a piecewise function, I first want to set up an x and a y axis by defining my variables x equaling the number of hours that I work in a week, and then y would be the amount of money that I get paid. And so if I work up to 40 hours, then I get $7 per hour. So if I work 1 hour, then I get $7. If I work 2 hours, I get $14. If I don't work any hours, I don't get paid at all. So understand that basically if I continue to work up to 40 hours, I continue to get paid $7 each of those hours. And so how much would I get paid if I worked a total of 40 hours? Well, if I know that my equation is y equals 7 times x up to 40 hours, and so if I get $7 for 40 hours, I'm going to get 7 times 40, or $280. So that gives me a good idea of where we start. Now, it says after the 40-hour mark, I start getting paid 1.5 times how much I make during my hourly pay. So if I get paid $7, 1.5 times 7 is equal to $10.50. So basically you get time and a half. Half of 7 is $3.50, so you get $3.50 plus 7, or $10.50 per hour. So if I get paid $10.50 per hour for every hour I work past 41 or past 40, then I'm going to get paid more each hour after that. So the strategy being, if I work just 40 hours, up to 40 hours, I get paid 7x, 7 times the number of hours, from 0 all the way to 40. Now, it would be hasty for you to put 1050 times x if x is greater than 41, because remember, for the first 40 hours, you only get 7 times x. And then for every hour after that, you get 1050 times x. But what we have to do here is we have to figure out what would that second piece of this piecewise function look like. So what I suggest is the next step would be figure out how much you would get paid if you were to work 41 hours. So we're going to have a larger increase in the per hour rate. So that's why my slope of my second piece here is going to be higher than the slope of the first piece. But we can get back to that. If we just think about how much money would I actually make if I made $10.50 for that next hour? Well, I've already made $280, and if I add $10.50 to that, then I'm going to be at $290.50. So that means I have at least a good starting point. I know that for each hour after, I make $10.50. So if I go up $10.50, I'm going to go over 1 hour. So my slope of this part of the piecewise function would be 10.50, 10.5 over 1, 10.50, $10.50 per hour. And what I suggested doing was finding 2 points on the new line, the second piece, and the coordinates of these 2 points. And so we're going to get 40, 280 are the coordinates of this point here, and then 41, 290.5 or 0.50. And so with 2 pairs of coordinates, of course, we could easily come up with the slope of the line. If you didn't recognize that the per rate now, per hour rate that you're going to get paid is actually your rate of change or slope, then you could just do y2 minus y1. That would be 1050 over x2 minus x1 over 1. So 1050 over 1. Either way, you still get a slope of 1050. Now remember, if we know the slope of a line and we know a point on the line, we can easily plug in the slope and the point into the point slope form. So we're doing this to get the equation of the second piece. Remember, we're creating piecewise functions. We already came up with the equation for the first piece, and we want to come up with the equation for the second piece. Now, of course, the second piece goes on forever, but in finding 2 points on the line, we can easily come up with the equation of the line, so I don't need to keep plotting points. So I'm going to use my the point 40, comma 280 as my x1, y1, and I'm going to be replacing y1 with 280. So I put 280 there, and then I have my 1050 for my slope, and then I multiply that by x minus my x1, which is 40. So I'm going to go ahead and solve for y here, and I'm going to do that in a different color because it's getting a little bit busy. So if I add 280 to both sides, actually I'm going to go ahead and not do that yet. I'm going to multiply through by 1050. So 1050, now 1050 times 40, 1050 times 4 would be 42. So 1050 times 40 then would be 420. And now I'm going to go ahead and add 280 to both sides. And by adding 280 to both sides, I get negative 420 plus 280. That's going to be minus 140. So there, I have my second piece of my piecewise function. This piece is what the function is defined to be as soon as you get past 40 hours. And so we're going to write that down here in the second piece. 1050x minus 140 when x is greater than 40, when the number of hours I work is greater than 40. All right, and then if I type in that piece of the piecewise function into my y1, then I can easily plug in 45 into this function, and the way we do that is by pushing the vars key, variables, y variables, function mode, enter, and then y1, and then I just want to, in parentheses, I want to evaluate y1 of 45. So I have to put y1 there on the screen, parentheses 45, enter, and I get 332.5. So that means that 1050 times 45 minus 140 is equal to, what did I say? 332.5. Therefore, if you work 45 hours, you'll make $332.50. And that's the answer for part B.